Hello. It is Wednesday and it's time for Pop and Politics. We are talking about the latest in hot topics, news, and entertainment. I'm KJ along with the amazing Shelly E.
Hi, everybody.
All right. As I always say, join the conversation by leaving a comment on YouTube or Twitter. We will check the comments periodically throughout the show. And don't just comment, subscribe. If you miss us here on YouTube, you can watch us on Rumble, or you can listen to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts under the same name, Pop and Politics. Guys, we are an independent media, and if you want to support what we do, your super chats and donations go a long way in helping us produce conservative content. Any amount is appreciated. As I always say, this is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that understand there is a target on our backs because we value freedom. But we must still stand. Let's stand together and amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, Shelly, let's set it off.
Okay.
So want to start off tonight. Today is, of course, Juneteenth. And so a lot of people still don't understand what this holiday is about. It's a federal holiday it was actually made federal in 2021, I believe, by Congress. So Juneteenth, on June 19th, 1865, Union soldiers arrived in Galveston, Texas, and freed the last enslaved people in the Confederacy. When we celebrate their freedom, we celebrate America itself. That was actually a quote by Condoleezza Rice. So it was basically a day where, as we all know, the Emancipation Proclamation was given by President Abraham Lincoln in 1863. However, these people, the enslaved people in Texas, did not receive that notification until 2 years later. So, of course, June 19th, 1865, the Union soldiers made their way into Galveston, Texas, to let them know that they were free.
Right.
And the Emancipation Proclamation had been declared. And so that is where we get Juneteenth. Shelly, what are your thoughts there?
Well, now that, I knew that history, but it just dawned on me that since 1865 or 1863, we've always known that the post office was slow. I don't know why it's a surprise now. So hell, with this, we've known that snail mail, we've known that for over 200 years now, so why are we surprised?
Yeah, but it's been declared a federal holiday, but actually people in that area in Texas and other parts around the country have been celebrating it for quite a long time. So it's just become a national holiday, of course.
For political reasons.
Right, for political reasons. And it's a shame because it's a good holiday. It's a shame that, politics has muddied it.
Right. I think most people that are celebrating it, black people, they don't know why.
Yeah, they don't.
They just know they have a federal holiday and it may be fun. It was a cultural thing in Galveston, Texas. I've never been there to celebrate it in Galveston, but I'm sure most cultural small festivals, they're probably fun.
Oh, yeah.
And, you meet your family, friends there, enjoy the festivities. But of course, the politics has, like you said, muddied it.
Yeah, it certainly has. So we want to acknowledge the day. Many people are off today because it is a federal holiday. So hopefully you enjoyed your day and maybe were able to get some education on the holiday. But we have lots to unpack outside of Juneteenth. As you guys know, it has been made a kind of what would you say, Shelly?
What, for Juneteenth?
Yeah, it's been politicized.
It's been made a mockery in a sense.
It is.
It's just a day off.
Right, yeah. And this is what the left does. They make a mockery out of everything.
Right.
And so speaking of that, we want to move to Dr. Fauci. So we have special guests with us tonight, which I'm so excited about. So joining us tonight, we have Moms for Liberty. We have the director, we have Moms for Liberty co-founder, Tina Descovich, and the director of national engagement, Bess. All right. Hello, ladies. How are you tonight?
Doing great.
Dear
Good.
fabulous.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, who else could we have on
Right.
to talk about the news with Dr. Fauci? So he has been all over the news recently. He acknowledged on Tuesday that shuttering schools for months during the COVID pandemic was a mistake. A reversal for the former presidential chief medical advisor who became the most influential alarmist during the pandemic, or what we call here on Pop and Politics.
Scamdemic.
Right. And so I wanted to get you all response to him before you begin. I want you to take a look at this. This is clip number 3 of Dr. Fauci.
To school, there are some areas where the level may be low, but not absent and maybe a little troublesome. You might want to modify the schedule, a hybrid, part online, part in person, morning, afternoon, alternating days, whatever it is at the local authorities. And that there may be some areas that the level of virus is so high that it would not be prudent to bring the children back to school. So you can't make one statement about bringing children back to school in this country. It depends on where you are. And we've got to be very flexible.
So that was him back in 2021, I believe. Again, pushing for the schools to be closed. What are you guys' thoughts on his reversal now?
Here, Tina.
Well, in 2020, I was sitting on a school board here in Florida as schools were closed, and we were debating for hours, 14-hour meetings, plus day after day, trying to figure out if it was safe to open schools. I was fighting hard to get our kids back in schools. And I will tell you again and again, the debates and the discussions all centered around what the CDC wanted, what Dr. Fauci had recommended. And time again, they wanted schools closed. They didn't want them. They wanted masks on children. They wanted them all sitting 6 feet apart in the same direction, not able to talk during lunch. The types of things they were putting on children as parents, we all knew that this is not good for kids. But Dr. Fauci didn't care what was good for kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Shirley, what is your response to that? I mean, it's exactly right.
Yeah. Well, again, I call it scamdemic for a reason because, like you, Tina, in some way, I was really protesting here, not just nationally, but certainly in Maryland. And from the beginning, I just knew that these mandates were a huge overreach, if you can even use huge and overreach at the same sentence when you're describing bureaucracy, right? It's kind of redundant. But Dr. Fauci, even some of the governors, certainly the bureaucracy at the federal level, and let me say this, as much as I love the man, I voted for him twice and will be doing so again. I was angry with Trump because he started allowing this and he did not get rid of these people soon enough, if at all. But this overreach still has ramifications that we're seeing and that we are experiencing with young people and with just general mistrust of our government institutions.
Yeah, and speaking of the ramifications that we've seen in children because of this overreach, school lockdowns caused massive learning loss across the country among K through 12 students. In 2022, 8th graders had the lowest U.S. history scores on record and among the lowest civic scores. Same with math and reading scores have suffered over the pandemic, according to the Department of Education. Math scores plummeted among 4th and 8th graders in almost every state, and reading scores have also sunken across the country, erasing the last 3 decades of progress. Now, Tia, I know you are a mom and felt the impact of this, or at least you guys, you're in Florida, is that right?
Yes, I'm in Florida. Yes.
Okay, so you weren't as closed down as the rest of the country, but what are your thoughts on Fauci's flip-flop on this subject?
Okay. First of all, I'm fed up with all of it because I have a special needs child. That's in 2019, 2020. I was fighting the school board. You know, I had a son on the autism spectrum. He was speech and hearing delayed. And I just want to know, when is my son going to be allowed to go back to school to receive in-seat services? You know, when you have a child with a disability, you know that they value the speech therapy, occupational therapy,
Yep.
in person. And they wanted my son to wear a mask and a face shield and sit behind plexiglass for 8 to 10 hours a day. And I couldn't believe it because I'm thinking to myself, how can he learn? He reads lips. He's shut off from the world. So for Fauci to turn around and to say he was wrong, I know he was wrong. Who does that to special needs kids, let alone all of our kids?
Absolutely. And he's now, and you see people in the media, his supporters and pundits saying, well, they didn't know, they didn't have the information available that we have now in order to say that this was wrong for them to close down schools. What do you say to that, Tina?
Oh, I have a lot to say to that. If I, as a school board member with no medical background whatsoever, I reached out to local surgeons, I reached out to local doctors of all types. We interviewed everybody we could, and we gathered information. And the first thing they told us is this is an airborne virus, and masks, especially masks that aren't N95s, that are homemade, are doing nothing. They are actually holding it. They are trapping some of the germs, and our moms and their kids were showing up with gum diseases in their mouths, mouth infections, MRSA on their face. Like, it didn't take a rocket scientist, a PhD, or a doctor degree to see very quickly what was going on with the decisions they were forcing on our children. So, it's appalling that they're hiding behind the excuses that we didn't know. We knew. We were looking at other countries that were months and months ahead of us, that were already learning that kids were not being affected the way adults were, that kids needed to be in school. I mean, you just said that you're in Maryland. Baltimore, 13 of their schools, 0 kids can do math in 13 of their schools. They had no business shutting those schools for those children. Some of these children, Condoleezza Rice, you talked about her in your opening. She spoke also today about this exact thing. Some of these children will never be able to read now. If you're not reading on grade level by 3rd and 4th grade, and you kept those schools closed for 2 years, these kids will never read. There's no excuse. You know what? Moms have very long memories when it comes to harming their children, and they will not forget this.
Yeah, I hope so. I pray so. And Shelley, I mean, this was a blatant rejection of not only common sense, but science.
Exactly.
This science has been around for a very long time, especially as Tina mentioned, for masking and things like that. We know children are resilient. We know their immune systems are much stronger than elderly people. They ignored the science. Do you think this was intentional?
Oh, it was intentional. Initially, or when the scamdemic first started, and even a couple years later, I said maybe the first 30 days, the first 2 weeks to 30 days, I can give some grace for that because it was new. People were sick. People were dying, things like that. But never in the history of, certainly not in America, were young people, healthy people, locked down, told to lock down and stay behind closed doors and plexiglass. These are the people who should have been outside. They should have been ripping and running all the more, if not more than what they were. They certainly should not have had masks. And early in the administration, I cannot think of this man's last name to save my life. The admiral, the public health admiral, Jerome something, and Fauci types, and even the female, I forget her name too, the woman that was always on camera with him. But they told us, don't go out and buy masks. You don't need a mask. The masks don't work. Save your money. That's what they told us, right? Just, basic hand hygiene, which really 99% of viruses are spread that way anyway, right? So they told us, these quote unquote experts, not only that, when they were presented with equal and more superior experts saying, whoa, pump the brakes, what did they do? They went on a conspiracy. This is what I call the scam. They went on a conspiracy and a scam to censor these people, to make these people look like idiots, that they had no skills, all because they were not carrying the government talking points.
Yeah, and Tia, you mentioned the effects that this has had on your children, and especially children across the country with special needs and things like that. Do you believe parents are remembering this? Because we have an election coming up, and I know you guys are not political, but Biden is still hailing Fauci as this guru. I mean, I personally believe he should be behind bars. What are your thoughts on this as we come up on an election? Are parents remembering what our kids have to go through for this time period?
Well, for me, I know that it's something that I would definitely remember. And I'm going to do my job to keep on educating and empowering parents across the United States. That's my mission as the National Director of Engagement, to let parents know, we can't forget. I have a daughter right now, she has asthma. And she's like, Mom, can you please keep on fighting? Because I don't want the mask to come back. If you've been to Florida, it is not possible to wear a mask in the state of Florida to do PE, fit over your mouth and your nose. You just can't. You're going to have a heat stroke. Yeah. So I pray that parents don't forget. I'm going to remember and to tell other parents, look, our kids, they're suffering with mental health issues. Anyone who has a child that has a disability, for my son, he was 2 years behind verbally. Because of the shutdowns, he was behind even 2 more years. And I'm thinking, what can I do as a parent? I got empowered. I joined Moms for Liberty. And ever since then, I've been speaking up, speaking out.
Okay. Absolutely. And, I have been following you guys really probably since the pandemic, the lockdowns. I've been following you all and what you are doing in schools, not only educating us on these types of things with Dr. Fauci, but just with the reading and these books, the sexualization of children. I love you guys. I personally think that Moms for Liberty and what you all do is probably one of the best organizations we've seen in a very long time. Can you just talk about what you guys are doing and what we as parents need to be aware of in general, not just with Dr. Fauci, but in general, what should we be aware of going forward?
Yeah, I will gladly do that. So as a former school board member, a mom of multiple children, and a grandmom now, or a Gigi of even more children, I can tell you the most important thing parents can do right now is be plugged into the local public education system. And I don't mean just volunteering in your classroom, although you should be doing that, volunteering to read to students and help out in the school. You need to be involved in the policy portion. That means checking up on your school district. What are they doing? What policies are they setting? What rights are they stepping on? What books are they adopting to put in your child's classroom and in their school? No longer can you trust that they have their best interests. You have to check every assignment. You have to look in that backpack. And of course, you have to join a Moms for Liberty chapter, because that's what we do as a whole. We work together so that it's all not, on one parent. We work together to review the textbooks, to check out the public school libraries, and to make sure policies are not stepping on parental rights. Because I'll tell you what, the government is taking more and more of those rights away, and it is starting at the local public school system. And once those rights are gone, it is going to be very hard to get them back. And so parents have to unify and stand up together and say, no more, not my child, not again.
Right, absolutely. Right. Well, thank you all for coming on tonight. We certainly appreciate it. Thank you for that. You have an open invitation to come on to Poppin' Politics. Yes. And if you are in Maryland, we'd love for you to come in studio and chat with us.
That would be wonderful. Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you so much.
All right. Take care. All right. So she was actually absolutely spot on about parental rights and their overreach, this bureaucracy, bureaucratic overreach that we're seeing, not just on the local level, but across the country on a majority of issues.
Absolutely. Again, I get called a radical or what an anarchist a lot. I've gotten called those things because I really do advocate for less government, smaller government, because, quote from Dennis Prager, the bigger the government, the smaller the citizen. It's just that simple.
And we see that they do not have our best interest at heart. Nope. They don't. They don't have our best interest at heart. And not only that, they misinform and now blatantly lie.
All the time.
And that moves us on to Morning Joe. So we're talking about Morning Joe, which now should be called Morning of Lies. We move on to this curious case of Joe Biden. So we have all seen the way the president seems to be deteriorating before our eyes over the last several months. I mean, faster than a wet piece of tissue. But Democrats and their surrogates have relegated the answer to this in 2 words: cheap fakes. This is their response to what we are seeing going on with Biden. Take a look here. This is clip number 1.
We're discussing the White House is joining the Biden campaign in pushing back against recent video clips going viral that make President Biden look as though he's confused during public events and other appearances. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre blasted the use of the misleading videos, which are edited to make the president look bad and then circulated by right-wing media and allies. Take a look.
They are cheap fakes video. They are done in bad faith, and some of your news organization have been very clear, have stressed that these the right wing critics of the president have a credibility problem. These manipulated videos, and it is again done in bad faith.
Wow. That's all they've got.
The Republican accounts circulating many of the clips responded, claiming the videos are unedited and promised to keep posting them.
A lie.
And also just, if something is unedited, it's
really
one angle,
lies.
not showing the whole story.
How about this, though, Mia? They lie about their lies, which, of course, you would expect liars to lie about their lies.
Oh, I mean, we're talking about Trump's.
But they're lying about their cheap fake. They're not
Washington
bad.
Post.
By the way, I got to say this one more time. They're only helping Joe Biden. They're only lowering expectations. They do it before every State of the Union address, and then afterwards, they're so freaked out that Biden did well, they say he must have been on cocaine. A sort of, 2024 version of, maybe an Eric Clapton song in the background, but they're doing the same thing for the debate. They lower expectations.
Yeah.
They say he's not cogent, and then he goes out and he does a really good job, and they're like, wait, what happened?
The Washington Post has reported about how these cheap fakes were used to attack Biden during his recent trip to Normandy. And we showed you last week the Trump campaign sharing a clip which appeared to show President Biden at the G7 summit wandering off from other world leaders before the Italian prime minister comes over to alert him about a group photo. But when you see the video from a different angle, you see the whole story. After a skydiver landed in front of the president and other leaders, President Biden turns to his left where there are troops. The president appears to say something to them and gives them the thumbs up before he's tapped on the arm by the Italian prime minister.
Okay. It still is ridiculous. Nobody else is looking at this paratrooper or whoever he was. It's ridiculous that he did it.
First of all, when he wandered off, he was not looking at those paratroopers, number one. And then when he got a little bit closer, he was looking up. He wasn't really looking down to see what was going on. He was looking off to the left. And until the paratrooper kind of moved to his left in his sight, that's when he sort of maybe had a moment of cognition that he realized that, but that other, whoever that person was, still had to come and tap him to say, no, turn around, Mr. Degenerative Octogenarian. So this is a lie, a lie, a lie. These people they've been lying to our face, but now they are using their pulpits to do it even more so. They want us to know, what is this old saying, who you going to believe, me or your own lying eyes? That's what they're doing. And many people, unfortunately, are believing it.
I hope not. I really hope not. I mean, this whole idea of cheap fakes, and it's a kind of like, they couldn't say deep fake because we know deep fake is when you use AI to totally change whatever is occurring on video.
Fake, faux, deep, cheap.
So now everything cheap fakes, which makes no sense. And it's a clear response to this. There is a easy way to tell what is what. Show the whole tape. But they don't want to do that because they know that this will show how crazy and deranged this president is. The same thing what happened with the tapes of that we wanted released from Robert Hur's interview. Remember that?
They still haven't done it.
No, they won't release it because they know it makes him look very bad.
It's one thing to read something, it's another thing to hear it. And then when you can read it and hear it together, you get all the tones and the intonations and the inflections, and you can get a little bit of the environment when you're hearing it as well as reading it. They don't want that. But this made me think about, we were talking about these 45 goals of the communists, and one of of the, well, a couple of them, but certainly one of them talks about the press and what they are doing. I think it's number 20. It says to infiltrate the press. These are the communist goals. And then number 21 says to gain control of key positions in radio, TV, and motion pictures. Well, there you go. If you didn't have anything else, these two certainly apply to what has been happening and what is going on with our media in collusion with the government. Our government, again, and again, all this is really against us because the government gets its money from taxpayers. That's it.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, I mean, now the Democrat Party has gone full commie. They have gone full commie, and you can clearly see it. We always mention this, many years ago, the communists had an agenda. They wrote down 45 principles of what they knew or needed to take place in order to infiltrate and push Marxism within America, and they are clearly doing it. This was one. The media has become propaganda. If anything, the clear resolution to all of this is show the full tape.
Right.
The same thing with Obama and him walking him off. Everybody always, that's not some type of made up thing where we see time and time again, people are grabbing this old man's hand and directing him to where he's supposed to go.
That's it. Again, no matter what, they are going to defend this presidency, this man, if you will. That's not what the media is supposed to do. The media are supposed to just lay out the facts and information. And of course, if there's an opinion piece or opinion column, you can state your opinion. But for basic news, they are not. This goes against our First Amendment, certainly. And it certainly goes against Americans who are paying many of the people, government workers anyway, period, at whatever level, we're paying them. But now they are working against us and our own best interests, our own interests for our country. They are turning things upside down. We better wake up.
Absolutely. And it wasn't a cheap fake for him to fall off of the bike.
No.
Was that a cheap fake? Was it a cheap fake that he's falling downstairs, falling upstairs? Are these cheap fakes? Is it cheap? It's so bad they had to get the man special shoes.
Right.
Because he can barely walk.
And again, we're not making fun of him because he's aging. Again, we know people who have aged. I certainly know people who have aged in this direction. But the fact is that the people who are handling him, they are the ones who would typically, we would call them elder abusers. And they should be brought up on charges. Because truth be told, Biden doesn't know if he's coming or going. He doesn't even know if he's about to poop his pants.
Yeah. I mean, was that a cheap fake? I mean, and again, we need, it is elder abuse, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
And you can tell, once again, these people do not have the best interest at heart for American people. Anyone with eyes would know and can see that this man should not be running a country.
Right. He's not, really.
He's not. And that's what it is. The people behind him, the puppeteers behind Biden, Joe Biden, want to keep him as this figurehead because they are the ones running the country.
Right. I'm going to call them the poopateers.
Oh, God.
I'm going to call them the poopateers now. Yeah.
All right. I do want to acknowledge our super chatters here. Thank you guys so much. Manuel.
Thank you, Manuel.
Says strong, beautiful, smart women. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Moving right along. This is what we do. We need to start responding and pushing back with the truth against these leftist lies. We really do. And I know some people say, well, why are you watching? We don't really watch Morning Joe. But I mean, when there's something that's just so outrageous and egregious, we have to respond because there are people out here really believing this nonsense.
Exactly.
And I mean, once again, here we are with Al Sharpton. Now he's still. When I saw this clip, I actually had to check the date because I said, "Is this an old clip?"
No.
They are still calling President Trump racist. Take a look. This is clip 5.
I think that we should not bite the bait of having to prove Donald Trump is a racist. I think clearly. I've known Donald Trump. I've marched on him, and then he tried to be friendly. He's come to my convention. I believe he's a racist, but that's not what we have to prove. Just look at his record. He is always race baited. He started with the Central Park five innocent young men in New York. He called for the death penalty. Well, has he ever called for the death penalty for anybody else? His political career started by saying a black man was not a real American. He was born in Kenya. Birtherism. Has he questioned even Joe Biden's birthplace? I mean, everything about race, he's always race baited against blacks. So all you got to do is look at his record. And I've said to any of those that support him, show me where he was on the right side of any race issue. We forget. This is the man that said when we saw the march in Charlottesville.
All right. Nothing, absolutely nothing he just said proved that Donald Trump is a racist. Shelley, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, I can't believe, well, maybe I can if I think about it, but that Al Sharpton is still taken seriously. Race battle, you know, the left always accuses others of what they are actually doing and what they have done. This man has been race baiting since he came out of his mother's womb, I suspect. But certainly since 1987, when his biggest race hoax about the Tawana Brawley rape and assault in New York City, where he accused Stephen Pagonis, I think he was the AG in New York, never apologized about that. Had that woman, that black woman, all in feces and messed up for his racial cause. Let's go to, I think it was 1991, Crown Heights, the Jewish riots that he incited because of an accident of a black boy that was hit by a Jewish driver. He incited riots there, had signage basically, you know, death to the Jews, things like that. His history is always overlooked or even glossed over totally and made to look like it's something else when it really isn't. He is the biggest, if not one of the biggest, race hustlers in America. I'm going to say the world, but certainly in the United States of America. He gets away with it. He has gotten away with it, and he has a home there on MSNBC. He has never apologized for those things.
No, never, ever, ever. This man is crooked.
There's parts in his head.
Right. Yes, exactly. He is crooked as the day is long. He should never in life talk about somebody else being a fraud or a racist, because when you look it up in the dictionary, you see his skinny, permed head. I mean, this is ridiculous. And, you know, they keep talking about this Central Park 5. Trump was not the only one who believed that they did this.
Right.
Is that correct?
No, he was not the only one. And again, it came out later that, you know, these 5 young guys were exonerated or whatever you call it, pardoned. But at the time, they were going by the evidence. Trump was not no, he was not. What's his name? Al Sharpton has been, I'm going to say, involved with racist accusations when Obama was president, accusing the professor here in Maryland, whose house he was of being a racist because the police came and asked him for ID. Because he was going into his own house, but he had no ID. The alarms were going off. I mean, you say the word "ruh," and Al Sharpton is going to add the ACE, and then he's also going to add his ass in the mix so he can get his own publicity.
Yeah, it's terrible. It is terrible. And again, I'm not sure if it was part of this clip we did. He also said in that diatribe that Trump said the whole thing about Charlottesville.
No, he didn't.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I thought that was part of that clip. In that same clip, he continues to push the lie that Trump was saying there's good people on both sides in Charlottesville. And it is a lie. Anyone can go and Google the entire video and speech of what Trump said about Charlottesville, and you can clearly see that this narrative that the left has continued to push about this is a lie.
It is a lie.
It is a lie. And we have the clips. I want you guys to see this. This is clip number 7.
I'm not putting anybody on a moral plane. What I'm saying is this. You had a group on one side and you had a group on the other, and they came at each other with clubs, and it was vicious, and it was horrible, and it was a horrible thing to watch. But there is another side. There was a group on this side, you can call them the left, or you've just called them the left, that came violently attacking the other group. So you can say what you want, but that's the way it is.
On both sides, sir, you said there was hatred, there was violence on both sides.
Well, I do think there's blame. Yes, I think there's blame on both sides. You look at both sides. I think there's blame on both sides, and I have no doubt about it, and you don't have any doubt about it either. And if you reported it accurately, you would say.
Neo-Nazis started this. They showed up in Charlottesville. They showed up in Charlottesville to protest.
Excuse me. They didn't put themselves down as neo, and you had some very bad people in that group. But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group, excuse me, I saw the same pictures as you did. You had people in that group that were there to protest the taking down of, to them, a very, very important statue and the renaming of a park from Robert E. Lee to another name.
Robert E. Lee are not the same.
No, George Washington was a slave owner. Was George Washington a slave owner? So will George Washington now lose his status? Are we going to take down, are we going to take down statues to George Washington? How about Thomas Jefferson? What do you think of Thomas Jefferson? You like?
All right, so there is the infamous clip, and there was another conference presser that he did immediately after the Charlottesville incident, where he really went in and talked about how this was awful, we need to come together. It was at a veterans situation, and then this one that we just showed was the second clip, or the second time he approached it. We can see it's nothing wrong with what he said.
It's nothing wrong with what he said, but again, the left is going to take anything that he says and just expand on it and make it, they're going to make it for their own racist purposes. That's what they're going to do. Any protest, you have a side A or side B or whatever you want to call them, who for or against. And in any protest, you're going to have people who have good intentions about whatever cause that they are supporting or opposing. That is just a fact, whatever the issue may be. Then you will have some rabble rousers. You're going to even have some, like he said, some bad people on both sides. That's all he was saying. That's what he said. Not even all he was saying. That's what he said. But the media has been pushing this lie amongst others, but they seem to talk about the biggest lie of all, the one that they started along with the DNC, this Russia Gate lie. They never talk about that, do they?
No, they don't. And we are living in dangerous times because the media now has definitely, as President Trump said, become an enemy of the state. They are simply propagandizing this information. They have they are not trying to seek truth. They are not trying to put out facts. They are just propagandic tools of the left.
That's it.
And so this is why platforms like ourselves and others are very important. I mean, you could easily play the tape and see that he did not say anything wrong, but this is a major lie that has been pushed and pushed. As you can see on MSNBC, they continue to push this lie.
And they're going to continue even more so over this summer. And because we have an election this year, they are scared. They are scared because they're losing some of their base voters, black voters, particularly black men. They are very afraid. Trump's popularity has not fallen. He has more money. He's raised more money over the last couple of weeks since he's been sentenced. So they are very afraid, and this is what they're going to do. They're going to keep upping the ante.
Yeah, and I mean, it is very troubling. It is very troubling the lengths that they will go to cover up or push out their whatever they're pushing. I mean, it's very scary. And if they're doing this, what else are they doing that we don't know about? I mean, this is what I'm talking. We just played, we had Moms for Liberty on earlier, and they talked about Dr. Fauci. Again, he's now flip-flopping on many of the things that he vehemently pushed. I remember like it was yesterday when it was right before Christmas. And remember that Christmas message that he sent out about the unvaccinated, how we're going to basically be lepers at our Christmas family events.
Yep, and don't go to Thanksgiving. And, and then after that, or in that time frame, they, if you will, the media, the government started really going after those who were unvaccinated, because now it was the war of the unvaccinated or something like that. So they went after unvaccinated people who all they were basically saying is, no, let's wait. We don't want this vaccine. Okay, but they destroy people's lives and livelihood.
Absolutely. I mean, so again, if they're doing this, and then we saw what they're doing using the justice system, weaponizing it against Trump, what the hell else are they doing?
Well,
what are they doing? And this brings us to our next topic. So we talked about Juneteenth a little bit at the. Before we go, I do want to acknowledge our super chatters. Oh my gosh, I do want to acknowledge you all. Thank you,
Big Dog.
All right, yes, Big Dog says my two favorite Black conservative stars. Holla! Did y'all hear about Soros trying to influence the FCC to stymie conservative voice on the airwaves?
Yeah, he's done that over the years.
Yes, he has. Yeah, he has. That's why, I mean, you guys coming on here, listening to us, commenting, sharing this broadcast, it goes a very long way. And not just ours. I mean, I'm very thankful that you do. But any conservative broadcast that you guys tune into, share, comment, like, and subscribe, because they are doing everything they can to mask the truth.
Right.
They are. And any dissenting voice.
Just like we say, we have to listen to some of these other clips and shows that I don't necessarily like it, right? But I want to at least hear what the other side is saying so that we can refute them, and dispute them. So we encourage you all, don't just listen to what you like, listen to something else. Not only will you get a little bit more information, smarter, you will certainly know how to argue against whatever it is that they are putting forth.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that takes me to this next topic. So again, we were talking about Juneteenth at the top of the hour. Today is federally recognized national holiday, Juneteenth. And of course, the left has to muddy everything. This is Tarajii P. Henson, the actress Tarajii P. Henson on the spew. Clip number 2.
Happy Juneteenth.
Yes.
What does this holiday mean to you? Why do you think it's so important to celebrate it? Because it's a federal holiday now, but we haven't been celebrating it across the country for a long time. People have been celebrating.
It's the day that slavery ended.
Yeah.
Right. Just in case. There's some white people out there.
That might not.
Yeah, that the last slaves found out.
And some black people that don't know either. But listen, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it once.
Yeah.
We better start celebrating.
Yeah.
Because there is an agenda that's trying to take it.
That's right.
So it means more now than it's ever meant before. Because we got to show up and fight for it.
Yes.
So that we can keep it very serious.
Exactly.
What we're up against. It keeps me up at night. I'm counting on humanity, though.
Yeah. Let's hope it'll come.
It's all on us.
Yeah.
It's all on us, and it's up to us what country we want to live in.
Yeah.
There you
It's
go.
getting to that point. But there are a lot of people who don't have a bag to grab and go.
No, not a bag to grab. Because if you go, then you're giving it over to somebody.
That part too.
See, too many people
fought and died.
Fought and died for this. Oh no.
That's right.
Yeah. That's right.
What are they talking about? What are they? This is a group of unhinged biddies. Tarajii she lost it. This woman is nutty.
Oh,
she's
my
gone
gosh.
to Hollyweird and she's been drinking the water, and this woman has lost all sense that she ever had.
I said the same thing. What is she talking
What is
about?
she talking about?
Number one. Number two, let me tell you something. She ain't lose no sleep over June 19th and being Juneteenth, because she didn't even know what the hell it was 3 years ago. When the federal government told her she could jump, that's when she said, how high? And she started jumping and doing Sambo and stuff for Juneteenth. She did not know what it meant or why it was celebrated at all either until maybe 3 years ago. So that's number one. Number two, she ain't lose no sleep. She's phony. Her eyes look red, probably because she been hitting and smoking something on that set. So, like she's is already weird anyway, like you said, KJ. These people, these women are just biddies. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't know why they're saying it. All they know is that they were told to say this and think and believe this. So they're just saying, you know, well, how high do I jump? And that's what they're doing.
Absolutely. I mean, she talks about an agenda that's keeping her up at night. What is it? These people, they continue to just throw out these comments. They never get into details. What agenda keeps you up at night? Were you up at night when your dumbass friend Jussie Smollett conned us and said that MAGA people had tied a rope around his neck, and you continue to support that lying man? Did that keep you up all night?
Nope.
This woman is so nutty.
No, and she's talking about some people don't have a go bag. I was gonna say winch. I'll say winch. If it is time to go, I bet you will be one of the first online. You ain't looking back to see who coming behind you. Whoopi, you better hope you can stay ahead because Taraji's going to leave you in the wind. So they are phony. That's the part that gets me. And what's her name? Sunny. We haven't been celebrating it for long. You haven't celebrated it either.
It's ridiculous, and they continue to push this fear, this fear amongst us that is not. It's no way factual. It's what they are millionaires, and she every time I see her on TV, she looks like she's about to cry. This is why I tell you, money doesn't make you. Money doesn't make the person.
This is what I'm going to ask something for our audience. We would love to go and sit at that daggone table with them biddies. Y'all gotta help us get there on that set so we can. And I want to sit right next to Sunny. Who you want, KJ?
Oh man, I think I want a piece of Alyssa Farrell.
Okay.
But it grinds my gears to see how low she has sunken. She's supposed to be a conservative, and every time she turns around, she is licking the boots of everybody on around that table. I just
want to go on that set. I want to sit next to Sunny. I do. I just want to bring. I don't know, the night. I just want to what do you call it? Eclipse. I want to just eclipse her or whatever. I just want to sit next to her and KJ by Alyssa. And I just, y'all, you can taste it. That's what I want. So y'all got to help us get there.
Yeah, help us get there. All right, so we're not finished with them yet. We are not finished with them yet. This was light. That was light. Now we're about to really dig in. They had also Rachel Maddow. She's a nutty one too. What is wrong? Where are all these nutty women coming from? What's going on in the water? Or I don't know what it is. Women have started to lose their minds. They're unhinged.
Yes.
Rachel Maddow was on there, I believe, yesterday. And of course, again, it's the fear-mongering, talking about a Trump presidency, talking about how Trump will destroy democracy. Take a look here. This is clip number 6.
We're going to be the ones who decide if the American system of government survives or if it's taken over instead by a strongman authoritarian form.
Right. So, Shelley, what are your thoughts there?
First, again, the left lies. They accuse the other side of what they actually are doing. Okay, I'm convinced that these people, they don't know the meaning or the implication of a dictatorship or totalitarian government or even a republic like we have in America. They don't know that. All they know is that this man that they hate, detest, Trump, is winning and will possibly win the presidency again in the United States. When Trump was in office, please somebody tell me what act of dictatorship did he perform? Please tell me. The one thing I think that they may be afraid of is what he did was when he started reducing some of the federal regulations because leftists love big government. So if you reduce the regulations, you reduce some of the agencies, then you're going to reduce their power because to them, government is God. So that's the only thing I can think of. But they align like they always do. They don't know what they're talking about. They're trying to twist it to accuse the other side of doing exactly what they're doing.
Absolutely. And that clip's cut a little bit early, but they were also talking about Project 2025. So as you guys, I don't know if you guys have seen or if you've heard, but a lot of leftist media now are using, they keep talking about this Project 2025 is the end of the world. This is what conservatives are going to destroy the democracy and things like this with this Project 2025. And not only do they say that, but they've also been pushing this idea of the democracy. CNN pundit O'Sullivan, who is Irish, couldn't quite believe what he was hearing. He says, I've heard a lot of conspiracy theories. He was talking to Anderson Cooper in a segment. He says, I hear a lot of things out on the road, but to hear Americans, people who describe themselves as patriots, say that America is not a democracy, that stopped me in my tracks. Ann Applebaum, she's another CNN pundit, says she's a historian and writer for The Atlantic who often frets about the grave threats to democracy here and abroad, says to Anderson Cooper that this Republican talking point is just more misinformation. You were hearing people say America is not a democracy because they are people around Trump who want them to be saying that, who have planted that narrative.
I told you they're twisting it or they don't know. America is not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic. What is the difference? Democracy means that the majority rules no matter what. A republic gives proportionate representation to the states, the people, so that they can have a rule or a say, regardless of the size of their state or their county or whatever you want to be, whatever entity or polity it is. That's why it's called a republic. We have representative government. Are there in some aspects, maybe in some instances where the majority does rule? Yeah, maybe like your school board, you might, something like that, local politics. But we are a constitutional republic. We are built on democratic principles, but ultimately we are not a straight democracy. This is what they want. They want a straight democracy because they want mob rule no matter what. A straight democracy means that, again, no matter what happens, as long as 51% or more says yay, well then that becomes it. And damn the other 49, as if the other 49 is not significant. These people like to twist. Again, it's very simple. Just take apart what they're saying and then see how it really applies.
Right. And I'll take
wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
Yeah. And I'll break it down even lower, even to a smaller way to say it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic on which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible,
right, with liberty and justice for all. It's a republic. Right. It's right there in our Pledge of Allegiance.
Right there.
I mean, it's not that hard. But you know what, like you mentioned, they want control. And they've twisted everything to say it's the opposite when it's not. And talking about this Project 2025, I actually read it. I didn't read the whole thing, but I read a good portion of it. And I love it.
I do too.
I love it. It's all about freedom.
It's all about freedom. It's a policy paper, if you will, which every president, every administration has. It just depends on which policies you want to implement. But this is nothing more than the way to, if you will, I'm going to say envision, or maybe not even envision, but to get us back to what our government is supposed to do and not supposed to do.
And to the people.
Exactly.
Power to the people.
Exactly.
Is what it talks about. I mean, I will go through Department of Education. It says they want to get rid of it.
Get rid of it.
It has here, when power is exercised, it should empower students, families, not government.
Thank you.
In our pluralistic society, families and students should be free to choose from a diverse set of school options and learning environments. I mean, throughout the whole project, every pillar is about freedom. These people are lying to you.
Freedom, they're lying. Let's stay on the education for a minute because we're talking about, let's break it down for our audience. I'm not saying that you don't get it, but I want to break it down. You should be free. First of all, you should be free to choose education for your own children, how you want them to go or be taught, number one. Number two, you should be free to use your money to pay for your children to be educated however way you want to see fit, right? Your money should not be taken from you compulsorily and made to comply every year when you file your taxes, not to mention other taxes in between, where you have to pay for someone else's child or through student loans, pay their loans off, so you can't even afford to choose where you want. And your schools are determined to you, particularly public schools, K through 12, just because of your zip code, while all of these same elites can live in other zip codes and still make you pay for their children. Come on, people. Why does that make your boat float? It should make your boat, you should turn it over, flip it over, and start going through these temples and flip like Jesus did with the whips.
We know the boat is sunk. It is sinking and it's sunk in most of these communities that go along with this crap. I mean, but every pillar I read was about freedom. Department of Agriculture. It says American farmers efficiently and safely produce food to meet the needs of individuals around the globe. Because of innovation and resilience of the nation's farmers, American agriculture is a model for the world. Farmers are allowed to operate without unnecessary government intervention. American agriculture will continue to flourish. Again, they want to remove government. They want us to have more freedom, more individuality with Americans.
Exactly.
I mean, the whole thing.
Talk about farming too. Go look up the Denmark. I think it's in Denmark, where the government is mandating that farming or the farmers will have to give up their property because of the cow farts. Really, because of climate change. So these people are going to lose their properties. They are trying to do the same thing in the United States of America. It's coming here, people. We have to wake up and push back. Stop being afraid of these jokers. We pay them. They work for us, and we don't need all of them. They're on holiday today. How many of y'all still have to go to work? I mean, come on. You're paying. How many holidays does Congress get? Do all these government agencies get? When we're paying them, we're working more than 6 months out of our year to pay their salaries, and then they tell us this, basically, with everything that they come out with.
Yeah. I mean, they go into HUD. I mean, it talks about how, these government assistance programs have not helped these communities, urban communities. It's done more harm than good.
Okay, another example, KJ, with HUD. Again, our taxpayer money is taken from us, used to build whatever they call them, low-income homes or homes for what they call them, unhoused people. All of this crap. They can live in hotels. They live in hotels where we may not even be able to afford, right? And they get SNAP money for it and other welfare, if you will. But yet, then they come back and want to control our houses. They want to tell us how we can turn our heat and air, or how many stoves or gas stoves or electric stoves can we have or not have. This is the more power we give them, the more they're going to use it against us. Who else they going to use it on?
Yeah. I mean, they specifically say on this HUD portion, they talk about how many of these programs have done nothing but penalize family formation in traditional two-parent marriages.
Absolutely.
It says here, fail to acknowledge that these public benefits too often have led to intergenerational poverty traps, have implicitly penalized family formation in traditional two-parent marriages.
Right.
I see nothing wrong with this. The left has been going on about this Project 2025 like this thing is a herpes.
Right.
I mean, it is nothing wrong with this. These are all very good policy initiatives. Right. And whether you agree with them or not, most of the pillars here are talking about getting government out of our business.
The bigger the government, the smaller the citizen. The smaller your house, the smaller your schools, the smaller your communities, the smaller your stoves are and refrigerators, the smaller our cars are. These are not the purview of government. I don't care who they think they are. Again, they work for us. People, the power belongs to us. We need more of us to start thinking and acting on this power and get these jokers out.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I encourage you all to take a look. I believe the website is Project 2025.org, I believe. It's something like that, but you can, if you do a simple search on your search engine and put it in Project 2025, it'll come up. And I mean, it's definitely lengthy, but we are hearing, I know it's going to be coming up more and more as we get closer and closer to this election. They are going to start pushing out. I mean, they are throwing anything at the wall. I mean, we've talked about it throughout this hour, how they are trying every way they can to get people to vote for Biden. And it's getting ugly.
The poopeteers. They probably might even want to throw his poop against the wall. I don't know. But we need to take our control back. Many people, when I think I tell KG this a lot, when I hear anybody, I don't care who it is, say we need more government, we need more government, I'm leery of people like that. I'm leery because most of the time they don't know what they're saying. They don't even know the implications. All they know is that they want the government to do something for them that they see other people getting the benefit of from government. Well, I say, damn it, that's my damn tax money, and I'm tired of funding everybody else's cause with my tax money.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we have the debate coming up next Thursday. So we are looking forward to that. We will be here live. We're going to be here live with debate reaction to that. So that'll be next Thursday, I believe, at 9 o'clock. The debate starts. So we're going to live stream it right here. What are you thinking? I don't know. What are you thinking, Shelley, about this?
I still think there's something to this. I think they are revving up for Joe Biden to cancel out, if you will, at the debate. And I think they want to move Kamala in. And I still say they still want Michelle Obama in there some kind of way.
Well, I mean, this is the first time in history that they have had a debate before the actual convention. So I don't know what that means. I'm nervous. They have put in so many restrictions on this debate that have not happened previously. I'm totally looking for Biden to get the questions before the debate.
Oh, absolutely.
And then they already have the mics thing where they're muting the mics when one person speaks, no audience. And they get, I think they get a break.
It's already bubble wrapped. Yeah. It's going to be bubble wrapped, plexiglass, and Biden is going to have a diaper on his ass.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, basically, one thing we do know, he will have a diaper on.
Yeah.
But it's just, and then no open comments, no opening comments. It's just anything they can do so that he can't go off the rails.
Exactly. And
it's sad. Right. I mean, who is voting for this? Who would vote for this?
The View and what's her name? Rachel Maddow.
Yeah.
All of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So we will be here though live on Thursday. So definitely tune in. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. That way you know exactly when we go live. Guys, we are at the end of our time tonight. Yeah. Wow. So Shelley, I mean, any final thoughts for the audience?
I don't have any. No, I do. Again, show up, strap up, speak up, stand up, in whatever order you want to do that. But please, everybody, pay attention to what's going on. Don't be so distracted. Every part of our government, I say every institution is corrupt, but we need to break it down. Don't get intimidated by their big words or whatever words they're using. Don't get intimidated. I mean, you can still get some dictionaries that are still accurate and will help you. Don't be fearful. Yes, we get tired, we get disappointed, but don't be fearful about these jokers. As my mother would say, rest in peace, they just people.
Yeah. And not only that, but we need to know what is behind all of this. And so that's we've talked about how they have totally are turning right, wrong, and wrong, right. Mm-hmm. You know, we see how they're clearly the authoritarians, and they're calling Trump this. You know, they're saying that the traditional family is not the bedrock of our communities when we know that it is. They're trying to change the gender roles. Women are men are women, talking to mutilation, removing their breasts, removing their pelvis area. I mean, everything is inverted. Absolutely. Everything is backwards. Guys, this is Satanism 101. And so I hate to, I don't like to demonize the opposition in a way. I don't believe in those types of politics, but I don't know what else to call it. I encourage you all to look into Satanism and so you can see exactly what it is. And you will be astonished at how close the left is coming to it. This is what they're pushing and why they're pushing it. We know who they bow to.
Right.
We know.
Right.
We know, sadly. And there are a lot of people out there that don't realize it. I don't even say a lot. There are some people, sheep on the left, that don't realize it. Tell them, this is no longer politics. Oh yeah. This is no longer politics. This is spiritual warfare. And we need to call it by its name and know what we are fighting. That way we know how to fight.
Exactly.
All right. And that's our mantra. Be aware and prepare. Right. I do want to acknowledge our super chatter.
Thank you, Krista. Hi, Krista. We miss you.
Yes. Debate night, drinks, and shots. Yes.
And this is my Juneteenth outfit.
All right. All right. I thought you were putting on your Trump hat. Oh, yeah. I have a Trump hat, so I'm going to wear my Trump hat. I'm going to wear my Trump hat. If you guys haven't done so already, check out our merch store.
That's right.
You definitely can get some nice patriotic items there. Also, it's great to support us. We have mugs. We have different household items on there you can take a look at.
That's right.
And it's great gifts for your family and friends.
Oh, Krista said drinks and shots for the debate. So bring your drinks. Come on, we're going to stream it. Bring a drink or get some shots, and we're going to go through the debate next week.
Yeah. And anyone else on the left who tells you that we are not a republic, stand up and just recite the pledge to these idiots. I mean, this is ridiculous. They're lying so much, and it's just easy ways you can just prove them wrong.
Or give them our website or our page and let them see us, and we'll let them know. Yeah. You ain't got to take the back. We'll take it for you. We'll take the hits for you.
Yeah. I have to see these little girls, these women on here. They're just so good. They won't know because we're black.
Exactly. Just tell them we black women. That's all.
Oh yeah, I'll listen to these black women. And
that's all you gotta do.
And then they'll realize, oh my God.
They'll think they're doing an affirmative action, watching us for affirmative action. Just tell them we're black women and we want their support.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's good. That's good. Then they'll see how based we are. All right. So that does it for us tonight. We will see you on Thursday next week, not Wednesday, Thursday. So definitely subscribe. Until next time, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Bye. Good night. What's up, guys? We are the ladies of Pop and Politics, and guess what? We have merchandise. We got merch. Check it out. We have a website, www.popandpoliticslive, where you guys can pick up the latest merchandise that we have here. Here's something. I use this every morning for my cup of tea. It's a Pop and Politics mug. Yeah, I drink every morning tea. And I love it, so definitely check it out. We've got some cute shirts on there. Shelly, you have a shirt there that you love, right? Yes, cute shirt. And so definitely check it out. Again, www.popandpoliticslive.com. Appreciate the support. All right?
Go there now.
Yeah.
There you go.